Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. Welcome back. So, today I wanted to go over some progress I made, and this time it's been really focused on improving the generation and text analysis. To do that, I needed to really look at how to prompt better and to get better output from the AI models. Output from a textual analysis perspective and output from a stable diffusion perspective. So let's start with the image generation because it is more visual. And I think that I've gotten better, consistent results. The interesting thing here is some weird artifacts like try me is apparently a name. So just need to touch that up a bit, but I think overall things have gone better. I don't like that there's two people here. That's a mistake. But overall, I think we've gotten some good profile images. apparently need to do better about the background. There's Lord Voldemort. I think pretty good. So, how I got those profiles to be better was, if I click on this, I've included the gender, and at the beginning I always include the name. That helped a lot. And then all the descriptions, I really improved the output of the text to make sure that the descriptions were highly descriptive of the appearance and accessories and artifacts and all that stuff, and less so about what's currently going on that it sees, because it tried to explain too much of the scene. So how I do that is I have all the times that he's mentioned here, and a lot of it's just not useful. So before I was just entering in everything, and that was a mistake. So I needed to get it cleaner. So how I made it cleaner is I added some information to the information on the description level. I added some information so that it was really focused less so on describing the text, but more so describing the appearance of the individual. And that had a lot better results. Sometimes it didn't have good results, like this, for instance. Like appearance, that's not someone's appearance. That's an action that you're performing. So that's kind of messed up. Which book is this from? Harry Potter 1. Okay. Yeah, and it's not perfect, but it's leagues better than what it was before. Croaked, yeah, that's not really an appearance thing, right? Wearing invisibility cloak, sure, yeah, that's actually good. Odd twisted smile. So the output of this got way better, and I want to show you how I did that. I want to make a detailed video about how I improved the prompting. But right now, this is just a progress update. So let me close a lot of these things. What I did was I started to use the functions feature of ChatGPT. Now the functions features makes it do a couple things. One, you can force a better output. So before, what I was doing was I was just having it output normal text to me, and then I would force it to reply with an object, with the structure, in text form. And that worked because you could just parse the text and find the JSON object, but it would still fail sometimes and inconsistent. And there's a lot of the system prompt that was dedicated to just describing how to format the text, which I think was a distraction to the quality of the system prompt, because then the intention of your system prompt gets diluted by instructions on how to do something. And for my purposes, I'm using GPT 3.5 Turbo. It's not as smart as the others, so that attention is really, really important. So eliminating as much things that are not pertaining to your desired outcome is really important. So I started using functions, and these function definitions are great. So all you have to do is give a name of the function, say what it does, and then describe all the parameters as a part of it. This one's for detecting a new scene. And for this, what I did was just gave the system prompt the instructions of the agent identity of saying an assistant that detects scenes and transitions in text. Now, maybe it would be better for me to say that you are, what do you call it, an editor? Novel editor. There we go. Maybe that would improve it, because I think that the scene detection isn't working as well as it should be. So I basically had GPT generate a guide on how to detect when a scene is transitioned, and I'm just using that as the system prompt. And then I asked it to prefer medium scenes over shorter ones and long ones. I don't know what that means. I don't think it did a good job with it, but still I need to improve this prefer piece. This did make it so that longer scenes appeared versus it just being changed every, almost every single passage. And sometimes it'd have 3 passages go by and it was the same scene, which I think wasn't terrible. So I might just delete this just because, it wasn't terrible. But still, I think, yeah, this definitely improved it. I think giving a description of how to detect what scenes are changing. And then here I say every time make a function call to the function that I just defined here. So this forces it to to run the function in response. Now, there can be back and forth if you detect something's wrong with the output, but right now I'm just taking it in as is, and the parsing of it is so much more simpler. So this was a nice addition. Now I did this also for all the other prompts. And one of the things that's really important when we're talking about taking information out of text, a lot of it has to do with being specific. And when you're finding that some of the data is being mixed with things that you don't want, then what I'm finding is to be a good thing is to hone in on what is the thing that you don't want that's being included, and then create a bucket for the agent to output that thing there. That way the agent can still say the same thing, but now it's taking that information and putting it in a place that's more useful, because sometimes just saying don't do that isn't enough. But when you say, okay, fine, you can do it, but make sure you put it over here, keeps it so in a way you're just saying, I want to organize it. That does a really good job. And again, maybe this isn't a problem with the more expensive models, more modern models like 4001, but they're also more expensive. And when you're talking about really just analyzing a whole novel, we need to keep costs down as much as we can, especially for simple tasks. I think that 3.5 is enough for these simple tasks. You just need to improve how you really analyze a text, and that's what I'm doing here. So here I'm analyzing the text, and so I'm doing named entity recognition. So I want it to detect, hey, is it a person, a non-person? I simplified this by a lot. I think that the person thing still is detected poorly sometimes. Like, for instance, in these profiles, let's see, there should be the family. Yeah, the Potters. So I need to automatically detect this as not a person. But yeah, that's a problem. So for some reason, it's saying this is type person. It's not. But this simplifies it a lot, and it's a lot more consistent, giving me better results on actual people, and focusing on that. So that's good. These aliases are great. The part where I was describing getting better with the details of the appearance and the and other attributes of the characters is having this appearance array being outputted. Now, once again, I'm trying to say do not include anything about other characters, and that has improved the output of this, because sometimes for instance, Aunt Petunia was cutting Harry's hair, it would include the statement of her cutting Harry's hair as an attribute of her. And so the result was she was nearly bald because she cut Harry's hair to being nearly bald. So that it was terrible. And so when I saw that it was recording those actions, okay, let's output the bucket into the actions array. And that has gone a lot better. So we just need to continue to add buckets so that I can output it into those areas, because it really is specific. It really does want to describe those things. I turned the temperature way down, which means that I will get a lot more consistent results. Before, sometimes things were really, really good, and sometimes they're really, really bad. And that kind of made it a gamble, and I could see that being a nice thing. So something that is amusing, right? Like maybe you want that randomness because it brings out a bit of fun and unexpectedness to your experience. But for now, what I want is to keep it at a low temperature, because then we can get a consistent experience, which I think the majority will want. But providing a way to toggle that, I think, will be a good thing for the future. And I think that you want to be selective of where you want that creativity, and analysis is definitely not one of them. I want this to be as consistent as possible across iterations so that I know what I'm getting out. Anyways, those are the things that I did to make my prompting a lot better. It's ongoing improvements. I think that it's going to be an ongoing journey, especially when it comes to the image generation. So far, I've found that Dream Shaper is the best one, just without any modifications. And I anticipate these ones can be great, but I'll need to really sit down and figure out how to make proper use of them, especially in these contexts. Maybe they're better now that I've improved the prompting, but before they were quite difficult to work with. Anyways, I will leave it there. I will catch you next time. You can see any of the right up here. Any of the my past videos in the playlist above. But otherwise, have a good one. Bye.